both on the same page. All right, thank you for the feedback, Zoom user and Unwa Diuto Okpara. Thank you for the feedback. All right, so let's get started. So there are a couple of news in the market today. Majority of it actually got released in the course of the nighttime right here in Nigeria. Thank you for your feedback, Mr. Akman. So in the course of the night, there was the BOJ, that's the Bank of Japan. Governor Ueda gave a speech. Then 2:30 a.m., there was CPI monthly, CPI yearly from Australia, trimmed CPI, trimmed mean CPI. Now, these three data, two of them came out bad for the Australian dollar. The other one came out neutral. So that is telling us of a potential bearish sentiment on the Australian dollar. Then 3 a.m., there was official cash rate from New Zealand, and it came out actual equal to the forecast. Others were speeches, RBNZ monetary policy statements, RBNZ rate statements, and 4 a.m. RBNZ press conference. 9 a.m. this morning, there will be ECB official stability review. That will be a speech, no actual forecast, for this one. So, but we expect possible volatility on the euro. And that's the main one for today. And while later today by 9 p.m., 10 p.m., there'll be RBNZ Governor Bremen rather will give a speech. So largely we only have just one. Okay, Madam Onaji is saying that my voice is low. Is that what you mean, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't know whether it's from my phone. It's clear but low.
Is that any other person's experience? Is my voice low? Please, I need feedback from other people.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma. Is my volume low or normal? Please, I need our feedback.
In my own end.
Okay now.
Okay, Zoom user is saying it's low but very clear. Okay, I think that should be.
It's very clear but low, very low.
Very low. Wow.
I don't know whether it's from my phone.
Okay, Opoene is saying no. I want you to. Okay, Victor Ogbole is saying I at my end. I'm not getting. You say it's not clear and normal, or you mean it's clear and normal? Zoom user is saying a bit low, but not bad at all. I think maybe it's a technical or a network issue. Because from my end here, everything is good. All my volume is high. It could just be some network or little issue here and there. But as long as it's clear, that's what is most important. At least you can hear. Okay, Zico Boy is saying it's clear. They need to increase their volume. Okay, maybe you may also increase your volume on your end. Mr. Ekpe Ambassador saying your volume is good, sir. All right, so I think it's good. But if you're not hearing clearly, please just do some improvement on your own end. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ayemikum.
Thank you very much.
Loud and clear. You're welcome. Yeah. All right, so let's just go straight to the chart. Now, it's funny enough, this week market has been very, very quiet. Movements have not been that much as expected. So we've had quite some quietness in the market. Right from the beginning of the week, we've not been seeing. When I say use word quietness, I mean volatility has been very, very low. We've not been seeing much movement across a lot of instruments. I have just to set up, which I want to share with us. Now, earlier on in the week, I said it that we may be looking forward to possibly a bullish dollar, and that's based on an announcement made towards the end of last week, from the United States that, they now have a new Fed chairman, who resumed, I think, last Friday thereabout. And due to that, the government is going to be injecting about $9 trillion into the American economy. Now, that is actually to boost the dollar. So we're expecting a very bullish dollar, though the date of the injection was never said. They just said this week. And we've been anticipating that, injection of $9 trillion into the economy. But then, as at this moment, we've not seen anything like that, We believe United States will not talk like Nigeria. And it's Nigeria, you hear this kind of news, I just say, oh, until they do it. But by and large, we've not seen that injection into the economy yet. So we've not seen the dollar go bullish. So while we are waiting, well, we have to just trade what we see, until it finally happens. Now, we started the week on Monday. And due to the sentiment, the market reacts to rumor a lot. Due to the sentiment of that proposed injection of $9 trillion, the market started for the week on a support level, a resistance turn support level. This is the dollar index, and that led to some slight bullish movement yesterday. But the market ended yesterday also with, even though it's a bullish candle, but it has some rejection, indicating some slight, retracement. So if you go down to 4-hour time frame, price currently is back to, that to the support resistance turn support level on the 4-hour, and it's beginning to look like it wants to give us some head and shoulder pattern, though I can tell you categorically it looks a lot rough, but then it's still looking like that head and shoulder, which may lead to a breakout. So the question is dollar about to break out to the downside, or are we still to expect the upside movement? To be honest, at this point, we just have to keep our fingers crossed until there's any major move in the market. We can't take a major decision. Now, two things could happen. If the injection is not done and price breaks this neckline region now, then we are to see a free fall on the dollar downwards. Definitely that will happen from a technical angle. But then if the injection is done, then price, this support on resistance, so resistance on support level can hold, and price may go back to the upside. So at this point for the dollar, we can't really do anything. We're just to watch and see what plays out. So if it's going to be a bullish one, I will also advise as another filter, but wait for price to break about this recent high, on the dollar. So if it's going to be a sell, let it break this resistance to support zone, which is now acting as a neckline. If it's going to be a buy, let it break this region. So that's all we can do on the dollar for now. We can't take any major decision until we get clarity on what is happening to the US dollar. So that affects any trading decision we may have on the Euro, USD, USD, CHF, GBP, USD, and others until we get clarity across board on the dollar. However, for the GBP USD, all things being equal, if the dollar eventually becomes strong, if at all it becomes strong, we might be getting ready for a bearish movement on the GBP USD. I marked this region either on Monday or yesterday. We have a rising wedge pattern that is forming here. RSI is currently at 47. It's already below 50. And MACD is about to cross below zero. It's actually in a bearish zone, but we don't expect much volatility now until we get some movement on the dollar. If the dollar eventually gets strong, then an instrument we should look at selling will be the GBP USD. We have a previous support turn resistance here to add some strength to that direction. So just let's look out for what's going to happen today. If the American government injects that, 9 trillion to the economy and the dollar gets strong, please look at selling the GBP USD. All right. So that's just what I can say about the major currency pairs for now until further notice. Now, the other two instruments I have, they are similar. They are positively correlated. And I looked at them. They were part of my major analysis for last week. And this week, again, they are coming up. That's the Euro AUD and the GBP AUD. And this is very profound because we just had a news on the Australian dollar overnight. So this is the fundamentals taking its place in the market. Like I always say, fundamentals give direction to the market. Technicals will give us entry points. If you go back to the Forex Factory this morning, which we already checked, you see that overnight there was news from Australia. CPI data came out bad for the Australian dollar. CPI monthly was bad. CPI yearly was bad. Trim CPI was, actual equal to forecast. But definitely the overall sentiment is a bearish Australian dollar. Okay, so now if the Australian dollar by sentiment is bearish, then it means that on the technical side, an instrument like the Euro AUD will be looking for a long. because for the Euro AUD, the Australian dollar is a quote currency, not the base currency. Now, from my analysis on this instrument last week, I said that I was looking for a bullish Euro AUD, and that's because from the previous week, price closed at a support level with a rejection candle. If you follow my analysis, you will remember this particular one. We have a support, we have two rejection candles, two dojis, and I said then we're expecting the big bullish movement last week, but then we just had some slight movement. So it wasn't so strong. Notwithstanding, we had some bullish movement last week. So it looks like market is ready to continue the bullish movement. So from the weekly outlook, technically, there has always been a bullish sentiment on the Euro AUD. Now with the news coming out from Australia, which came out bad, the CPI came out bad for the Australian dollar, then it means Euro AUD now is set to go bullish. So that means that from all indication, both the technical and the fundamental is having an alignment, which is indicating a bullish sentiment on the Euro AUD. You can see that overnight there has been some bullish movement, and we are expecting a continuation in that bullish movement. So on the 4-hour time frame, we're going to be looking at a bullish breakout. I've drawn my trend line right now. So if a new candle breaks out above this region, you can take a buy on the Euro AUD. RSI is already clearly above 50. It's actually at 61, and MACD has not crossed yet, but definitely is going to cross with time. But the market is more fundamental is being moved more fundamentally at this point in time. We only need a clear cut new candle above this region, and we are free to trigger a buy on the Euro AUD. So definitely it's going to be moved more by the fundamentals. Now, if this plays out, okay, we need to take some caution because the current price level coincides with the Fibonacci level, which may act as a resistance. But notwithstanding, anytime we see a new candle break out above this current zone, it's time to trigger a buy on the Euro AUD. And if price breaks out above, what are the profit levels? The first one will be the Fibonacci 38.2, and that will be on average about 72 pips, from the breakout point. And if it goes to Fibonacci 50, that can give as much as 160 pips. And if it proceeds to Fibonacci 61.8, that can give as much as about 240 pips. So we have about 80 to 240 pips that we can catch on the Euro AUD. We are very, very bullish on the Euro AUD. We are only waiting for that breakout. Don't forget, this is swing setup is 4 hours, so we check every 4 hour. The next 4-hour candle will be 10 a.m. After that, 2 p.m. You can just check. Now, okay, what if you are a day trader and you want to be a part of this? It's still not a problem. All you can do is to flip down to the 1-hour time frame. Now, on the 1-hour time frame, we may expect a slight retracement before the breakout. If it happens in that manner, this area is where we have a minor resistance. If there's a retracement before the breakout, that would be very excellent, because once price breaks out above that resistance, you can still trigger a buy. But being a day trader, you may not be able to hold on, except you have the capacity to hold on like a swing trader will. But you can target the recent highs as a profit-taking level. Price may get to these levels in the course of today. For swing traders, it may take days before price, gets to those Fibonacci levels I showed you. But for a day trader, just target the recent highs. The first high here is can give as much as 47 pips, and the second can give as much as 68 pips, and that should just be good for you. So as a day trader, you're not staying as long as a swing trader will. What matters is you get the direction, and that's the key thing I'm doing this morning, giving us direction. That's what is most important. So for day trader, swing trader, it's a buy. Just make sure you trade according to your to what you are capable of doing, as an individual, your style of trading. And going to the GBP AUD also, just it's having similar sentiment with the Euro AUD, because like I said, they are both positively correlated, meaning they go in the same direction most of the time. Now, the earlier analysis on the GBP AUD was the price closed in the previous week on this key level, on this support zone, very strong support zone. technically that was to give us a bullish breakout, which happened to an extent last week. And then last week also now closed, apart from being on that support level, last week now closed, the price closed last week rather, as a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. So that is indicating to us a massive bullish potential on this instrument. Now, with the news coming from Australia this morning, the data for CPI coming out bad for the Australian dollar. Now, for the GBP AUD, the Australian dollar is a quote currency. So while pairs like AUD, JPY, and the rest will be selling, then an instrument like GBP AUD, Euro AUD will be looking for an opportunity to buy. So we are bullish on the GBP AUD from both technical and fundamental perspective. And we can switch straight over to 4-hour time frame. And on 4-hour, what I'm seeing here is a falling wedge pattern, and we're waiting for price to clearly break out, above. It's testing that region currently, but we need to wait for the candle to close. And our RSI needs to be clearly above 50. Okay, it's at 55. That's good enough, but any entry will be made at the next 4-hour candle. So if at the next 4-hour candle, this candle closes above this trend line as we're seeing now, and that will be safe to trigger a buy. But we can't enter until the close of the candle. We need to follow the rules of candlesticks. So if by 10 o'clock price closes above, as in even preferably way above the current level, let's say we have some pips added to it, that will add more validity, then we can trigger a buy on the GBP AUD. So we're bullish on the GBP AUD. Now, because we are seeing a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern on the weekly time frame, that tells us that there is a possibility of price really going in this direction for a long period of time. If you look at the recent high, we may use that and recent high and recent low as our Fibonacci levels to look at potential profit-taking levels. And the recent Fibonacci level is Fibonacci 38.2, and from the current price to that level is about 39 pips. Fibonacci 15 is about 143 pips, and Fibonacci 61.8 is about 243 pips. So between 40 to 43 pips movement is very